and the incarceration in a North London mental institution. And this, bizarrely, is where I come in. In the late 70s, a journalist called Steve Turner had remembered this fragile and rather broken Svengali, and took the time and trouble to track him down to interview him about his life. Peter Meaden was now hospitalised in Southgate and undergoing electroconvulsive therapy, ECT, which has long since been frowned upon, but, at the time, was seen as a way of resetting a patient's brain. Despite his treatment and mental health issues, Meaden came across in Turner's interview as both erudite and a rare visionary. A Byron-esque mod poet-philosopher who was able to define just what it was that the very concept of mod meant to him at the time. He compared the young mod's sartorial outlook with the peacock style of Spanish bullfighters, and their subversive nature to that of the Viet Cong, fighting against the establishment from the left field. But more importantly, he defined the concept of mod thus: modism, or mod living, is an aphorism for clean living under difficult circumstances. It means nothing, but at the same time it means everything. Turner's interview was eventually published in the NME in 1979 off the back of the mod revival, and as a young mod at the time, I was captivated. Meaden's words seemed to join the dots, fill the gaps. He gave me something to believe in, and that's what this rather indefinable, dysfunctional thing called mod. Meaden and Paul Weller made me the person I am now. Strangely, by the time I read those words, I'd already met Meaden. In 1978, when he was with his son Sasha at the home of my childhood friends Jackie and Mickey Kirbishley, whose dad Bill by then was managing The Who. Peter was back in the game, looking after the Steve Gibbons band for Kirbishley's Trinifold management company. He'd been a consultant on the film Quadrophenia, saying, "This film's about me, man. This is my life," after reading the script. But he took his own life just 2 months later, never having seen it. His NME interview had such an overwhelming impression on me that I named this book in his honour: Clean Living Under Difficult Circumstances. Part 1, Chapter 1, Alternative Ulster. It started innocently enough. In the early months of 1983, a letter arrived at my mum's house in Loughton. It was addressed care of Extraordinary Sensations, the mod fanzine I'd been running since 1980, just before I left school. Now up to issue 8 with a circulation pushing 3,000 copies a time, this homemade magazine had become one of the mod scene's leading publications, taking over from the legendary but long defunct Maximum Speed. I received an enthusiastic postbag of around 25 letters a week. Teenagers wrote from all over the world. Unsolicited articles for publication, futile pleas for long out-of-print back issues, demos and fanzines for review, or forthright views for the letters page. The fanzine was part of an underground network catering for the young, but seemingly ever-growing mod scene that had appeared organically on the streets of London in early 1979. Dubbed the Mod Revival by a cynical and generally hostile music press, the scene initially coalesced around the Jam before an explosion of like-minded bands appeared on the London gig circuit that spring. Mod had enjoyed its brief time in the spotlight. The Jam, the film Quadrophenia, the Two-Tone Phenomenon, and dozens of hit bands like Secret Affair, the Lambrettas, the Purple Hearts and the Chords ensured a loyal teenage following. But by 1982, ignored by the music press, Mod had retreated back underground. And it was here in the shadows that, even after the Jam split in December of that year, the scene continued to grow. Word spreading through a growing network of teenage fanzines and newsletters. It's estimated that at the scene's peak in 1983, there were more than 1,000 of these homemade magazines, serving a youth culture that had spread to more than 20 countries. Mod was underground, unfashionable, and apart from the occasional tabloid bank holiday riot expose, invisible. But it was thriving. This particular letter to Extraordinary Sensations was postmarked Belfast South, Make no mistake, at this point, Ireland...
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.